You close your windows?
Yeah.
Then how are you running your computer?
Magic.
Impressive.
Yeah. I'm very good with computers, you see. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're fighting more lizard men.
We're neck deep into combat.
How many are we gonna end up, like, basically genociding all these lizard men?
Nah, just the soldiers.
I'm not sure if that's better, really.
That's the case with JRPGs. It's like, as long as you stock up on healing items, you're essentially immortal.
People talk about how Nathan Drake is a mass murderer in the Uncharted games, but like
psychopath, yeah.
But like, look at how many just like entire ecologies JRPG protagonists destroy.
Well, I think it's because Nathan Drake is like a more believable real person, and it's like you can make parallels between Nathan Drake and a person in real life.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that real guy from history.
Real guy, yeah.
Did you?
I mean, in fairness, not to cut you off, but
yeah, that's fine.
In fairness, Indiana Jones doesn't kill nearly as many people as Nathan Drake does over the course of the films.
So. It's a video game, so of course he'll be killing hundreds of these.
Anyway.
Well, Naughty Dog they know how people might say how like relentless Nathan Drake is. Did you hear about that patch they made? Like, sort of addressing the complaints people had in one of the games?
No.
So, I haven't played any Uncharted games, so I don't know the full context, but him and he was like trying to infiltrate some base or compound or whatever, and he just throws like two guys off a cliff. And that is like, they are 100% dead.
Yeah.
And someone was like, hey, Naughty Dog, you do realize Nathan just like cold blood murdered these guys, right? And they're like, oh, okay. And then they patched in like the two guys who fell off swimming away.
Yeah.
Just to show you, it's like, no, they're okay, folks. They're alive.
I think that's early in like Uncharted 2 or something. You're parkouring across buildings or something, I think it is. And the soldiers are like on top of the roof of one of the buildings that you like climb to the ledge of, and then you grab them and throw them down into the water below. And I have I've seen I have the Uncharted games, the remastered collection on the PS4, but I haven't gotten around to 2 or 3 yet. But I've watched playthroughs, and I do remember seeing that specific section where the soldiers popped up out of the water again and started swimming away.
They're okay, folks.
It's a strange alteration considering you just shoot tons of people right in the face for the rest of the games, but
What if they patched in like the guys getting up and walking away injured,
just limping off
every
screen.
single time? Yeah. That's what they sort of do in Dynasty Warriors. It's like you don't actually kill those soldiers; they just walk away injured.
Well, in Dynasty Warriors, the grunts usually just disappear like entirely.
Yeah, that's the implication is that they don't actually die. So, it's fine. In fact, it's actually I think the game itself calls it KOs, not kills. The more you know.
I haven't played enough of the main line.
Oh, I don't know what the deal is with Dynasty Warriors now, but I played a few at a friend's house on the PS2. That's my only experience with it.
Yeah, I've played one on the PSP of all things. And I've played some of the spin-offs. Like I've played Dragon Quest Heroes I think it's called Heroes. Is it called Heroes or Warriors?
Probably. Well, it'll be weird to call it Dragon Quest Warriors.
The Dragon Quest Dynasty Warriors game.
Or Legends. I don't know. One of these generic subtitles that you can just apply onto anything.
I think it's Heroes, but
it's Legends, Heroes, Warriors.
I've played the Berserk one. I've played.
Oh, that's the worst one of them. That's the worst name of them all. What is it?
It's just
Berserk and the Band of the Hawk. No, it's
Band
spelled
of
like
the
a
Hawk.
subtitle. Berserk and the Band of the Hawk.
I mean,
it's like someone didn't know what the main character's name is and just his name's Berserk.
Well, no, it's. All right, now I'm gonna have to look it up.
No, just like it would be better
it
to
is.
just call it like Berserk Warriors because like that actually kind of makes sense.
It is Berserk and the Band of the Hawk, but
It's so bad.
But in fairness, like the Berserk is all capitalized, so it's kind of obvious that it's not like.
I know it's
character
just
name
the
or
and
anything.
the is kind of sound weird.
I've also I've played a little bit of Hyrule Warriors, but not much of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Even playing like 10 hours of Hyrule Warriors is not much of it.
I need to play more of it because apparently that's one of the most beloved ones of in recent memory.
Yeah.
I
heard.
I really like Dragon Quest Heroes. I'm not qualified to comment on like how much how well it uses the Dragon Quest world because I don't actually.
No, I've never played a Dragon Quest game.
Yeah, like I've played a very small amount of like Dragon Quest 8, and none of the characters in Heroes are characters that I know from that.
I can't tell which Dragon Quest games are like remakes or original because they're up to like 12 or something.
11 is coming out soon, I think.
Okay.
10 was like some MMO on Nintendo systems or something.
Wow.
They've remade a bunch of them for like the 3DS, but they have followed
like,
the
the
original
numberings.
naming convention. So like they're still called like Dragon Quest 3 or Dragon Quest 6 or whatever. But yeah, like it's kind of difficult to get to track down all of the Dragon Quest games just because like half of them hadn't been released in the US until they got remade, and half of them are only on like the DS or the 3DS now.
Yeah, well, that's sort of the problem with SMTs. Like, despite a lot of them, showing up in like the PS2 era, there's still like more than half of them haven't been translated yet into English.
Yeah. But I will say that Dragon Quest Heroes does it does stick to Akira Toriyama's art style very well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a plus. And
was he the artist for like the very first Dragon Quest game or Dragon Warrior?
Yeah, I think he was like the monster designer and character designer like of the series from the start.
All right. And then at some point he left, and then they just used his style for the rest. Yeah,
I don't remember. Like, I think he's had input on most of them. If he hasn't been a primary like designer, because he was like, especially at the start of the franchise, he was heavily involved in the design aspect of monster. Well, everything in the world basically, which is why when you look at Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest, and you compare it to Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball, they look exactly the same.
Yeah. Same goes for Chrono Trigger. It's like
he
Future Trunks is just Chrono, like literally.
He has a very distinctive style.
Yeah, to the point where if you draw something in that style, then you'll just be seen as a ripoff.
Which is kind of a shame because I think his style is actually really good.
It is a shame. Yeah.
It would be nice if other people could like draw inspiration with it from it without being called just a ripoff or anything.
The Toriyama style.
Yeah. Cause yeah, I love his style, and I love the fact that he very commonly combines like weird technology with kind of dramatic fantasy areas. All right, hell. Anyway,
don't worry.
What are all these are these slaves?
Yeah. You can tell from their slave robes.
Yeah, they're dressed like them.
So Oboa, who betrayed us, and Gandio here, yeah, they're part of the revolution because they don't like the emperor, who we found out was their dad.
I'm not 100% sure about why Oboa betrayed us and now Gandio is just helping us.
I think Oboa just wants the throne for himself. Like, maybe he betrayed the revolution as well, just doing stuff on his own.
Yeah. Sneaky Ser men.
Yeah, well, you need a heel turn at some point. I mean... You like, there needs to be some, alteration with or disruption with your party. Either someone has to die or someone has to betray you.
At least it's not pulling a berserk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still like, I have to facepalm every time I see people like seriously making the argument that like Griffith did nothing wrong. It's like, man, you are just this is mostly relevant because I saw that like yesterday as of this recording.
Wait, for the first time?
No. I saw someone seriously making that argument for for whatever godforsaken reason. Like,
you're reading a top 10 anime betrayals thread.
No, it was just in another Discord server, and I'm like, man,
well, he did do something wrong, but he did nothing wrong until he used the Bailet.
He didn't do anything wrong until he did something wrong,
Exactly.
That's logic, I guess.
You can't argue with that. It's because it's the truth.
From a certain point of view.
Mm-hmm. It's all perspective here. All right.
Ugh.
It's a matter of perspective.
No.
In my eyes, Guts is the villain.
Their argument was literally like, it would have been fine if Guts hadn't gone on vacation. And I'm just like, no, that's not. That's just not how it would have worked at all.
Yeah, Griffith had it coming. Honestly, it's like, Guts was gonna leave you at some point. It's like, how did you not expect this to happen?
Mild spoilers for Berserk, I guess. I don't know. It's not.
If it's in the Golden Age arc, then whatever.
Well, I mean, there are undoubtedly people who haven't gotten to that point yet, but
I know, but there's 3 ways to consume that arc, and it's like, if you weren't spoiled by it by now, then that's impressive.
Yeah. And to be fair, we're not spoiling anything significant about it, so.
Yeah.
But man, people on the internet.
Which part are you referring to?
Well, just the heel turn.
The eclipse.
The heel turn.
Okay. Everyone dies except the main characters and one character who wasn't there.
Wow. Way to spoil it, man.
I was referring to the Eclipse. Don't get attached to these characters. Oof.
To be fair, like, Berserk is basically manga Game of Thrones, so you should.
But with demons.
As long as you go into it with that kind of perspective, you should at least know what to expect out of the.
Don't get too attached to any characters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Because that's literally the same exact way that you have to kind of go into Game of Thrones, like.
The comparison I know that seems to be made more often is Attack on Titan is like anime Game of Thrones. Because that's killed off way more characters.
I've never been interested in Attack on Titan, to be honest.
That's fine.
Like, I don't actually know anything about it other than the fact that it has weird naked giants and like weird skinless giants and stuff.
There's one skinless giant who is the most giant of all the giants.
I don't know anything about that series or franchise or no.
But surely you know of its reputation of killing off characters quite frequently.
No.
Which I'm not really that. I don't really agree with that. That's just my understanding of what people think Attack on Titan has.
Yeah, I haven't really heard that before.
Okay.
In fairness, I haven't seen like people talking about Attack on Titan for probably like 2 years now. So,
oh yeah, like after the first season ended, it sort of like the buzz around it sort of dropped off. And yeah, because like that's often the case. You know, once a new thing comes out, it's like everything it's exploded and then it's gone. No one, and then it comes back. It's like, okay, well, this is we've already like the newness is no longer there.
I do know that it's had 2 video games that are apparently fairly decent. Recently,
it's had more than 2 games, but
well, I mean, like
2 of them have been decent.
2 like big ones, like
and
backed by Koei Tecmo, I think, or something.
Yeah, looping back around to like the Dynasty Warriors. Yeah, it's by those developers.
And it's not actually a Dynasty Warriors type game, as far as I understand it.
It isn't.
It like I've seen a little bit of gameplay of like the first one, and it does use the same kind of like world map thing, I guess, but like the actual gameplay is totally different.
You can tell it's like built on top of the Dynasty Warriors like base.
Yeah. But the gameplay is like totally different.
And both games pretty much follow the anime story like to a T, except the second game does something I really want to see more often, is that you can essentially do what if scenarios. So I think by the time you finish like the main game, so basically when you finish season 2 of the anime in the second game, you can replay, you can essentially travel back in time as your creator character,
right,
and invade scenarios where characters get killed, and the objective is to essentially save them from their death, and essentially alter the time, kinda. And they're supposed to be like super hard because you're essentially like preventing a character getting killed off. I think that's really cool.
I think, from what I can remember, I think quite a few of the Dynasty Warriors games have like side missions, like secondary non like plot missions like that. It's kind of like dream matches. Or something. It's like, this is non-canon, but let's just make it happen anyway. Which is, I think it's pretty cool. Especially when it's using like a different property like Dragon Quest or some sort of anime or any of that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool to see them be able to get like more content out of kind of bending the canon.
Yeah, just screw the lore. Let's just make this happen.
It's also why
I'm sure the lore masters wouldn't have a problem if you make it clear, like, no, this isn't happening.
It's also why like 3/4 of the Dragon Ball games have had like what if scenarios.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it's because the anime hasn't been around for like over a decade. It's like, well, what else are you gonna do? And also, we have to reuse these assets like a lot. So let's just drop one character from one part and put him in this one. Bam, new what if scenario.
The entire concept of the Xenoverse games is
that's it.
A giant what if
scenario. It's timeline shenanigans. Both games are just like, oh no, something's happening to the timeline. Or whatever.
This looks pretty dramatic.
Oh yeah, look at that. It's a giant T-posing statue.
Well, it's also the Oracle who ran away on us earlier.
Oh yeah, I thought we killed him.
No, apparently not.
Uh-oh.
Huh. Welp.
No, their own castle has floating technology.
Also,
Oracle is...
Excuse me.
I forgot this.
Huh.
He had that hidden under his cloak the whole time.
That's quite the dramatic change.
Blastoise.
Oh man. I wish that Mega Blastoise looked a little bit cooler.
You want just bigger cannons?
I don't know how I would change it, but like the fact that he basically just goes from having the 2 small cannons to like 1 main cannon is just like, oh.
He also has like 2 more cannons on his arms.
Yeah, which is kind of weird to me, but yeah, you know.
That is also kind of weird considering his arms also has like turtle shells on them. It kind of looks weird when like it looks like he grabbed 2 squirrels and fused them with his arm. It looks, I don't know. Yeah, I would have changed it to like just like there's cannons that you find in like a battleship on his shell.
Yeah.
And it's just like a shit ton of cannons just on his back.
Yeah, like I'm not really a character designer, so I can't. I can mostly like I can comment when I don't find a character design all that appealing, but I'm not really good at kind of examining how I would make it better.
Yeah, well, even like identifying things like, oh, that's bad. You know, that still would be that's better than nothing.
It's like I've always been put off by Dragonite, because
it looks so different from Dragonair.
Yeah, because you have Dratini and Dragonair, who are both, you know, I've always found them like pretty cute, and I would have liked to have seen not some Pete's Dragon looking final form for them, because
I would have been fine if actually Dragonite was just its own thing and it didn't evolve from Dragonair.
Yeah, it's just that it looks so like goofy as the final form of Dratini and Dragonair.
Yeah, I think they were just doing like an anime take on a Western dragon, and you get that.
Yeah, it's definitely based in like some form of mythical dragon, but it's just it seems like a weird jump from the previous 2 forms.
It does.
And then,
which is yeah.
In comparison, not dragons, but you have Larvitar, Pupitar, Tyranitar in Gen 2, and like Tyranitar is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, actually. Mm-hmm. Like I absolutely love him.
There's a lot of weird mid-evolution Pokemon throughout like all the generations. It's like, what the hell happened to its teenage years?
Yeah, that's another one that's kind of it's weird to follow, but the actual design of Tyranitar is just so awesome to me that I don't mind it.
Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. No one really pays attention to the middle evolutions anyway.
Oh,
He's either super cute or super cool.
poor Haunter.
Or Haunter. Yeah. That's the only instance where I've seen more people say they prefer Haunter over Gengar.
I really like. Mega Gengar is another one that I think just looks bad.
You've mentioned that.
Yeah.
I don't mind Mega Gengar. I think there are way worse Mega Evolution designs.
I mean, honestly, like, yeah, a lot of the Mega Evolutions, I'm just kind of neutral on at best.
A lot of them I forget about. It's
yeah.
There's that, and like, a lot of them aren't even used like ever, and not even competitively. It's like, oh, this got the Mega Evolution, huh? Weird.
I don't even know like all the Pokemon that have Mega Evolutions anymore.
Neither do I. And I play Pokemon.
Is Mega Evolution still a mechanic in Sun and Moon?
They didn't. There weren't any new additions to it in Sun and Moon.
Right.
So, continuing the tradition of the franchise, introducing a new mechanic and then immediately dropping it, which sucks.
Just forgetting about it entirely.
Yeah, I mean, like, Alolan forms, that's fine, and I expect it getting dropped next generation, obviously.
Yeah.
So, hopefully Mega Evolutions come back. It's like, you had something going on there.
It's a decent idea.
And there's a lot more Pokemon, perhaps you might say even more deserving of a Mega Evolution than the ones that did get one.
Yeah.
Like, Flygon,
Man, speaking of Flygon, that's the only one.
that's the only one. That's the one people request the most.
Speaking of Flygon, like the first time I ever caught a Trapinch, I had no idea what to expect out of that line. Like,
so when it eventually evolved into a cool dragon, you're like, oh, awesome!
Yeah,
a dragon.
I was like, how did that happen?
Also, why is it called Flygon when Salamence should obviously have been called Flygon, and Flygon should have obviously been called Salamence? What happened there?
Oh.
It's so weird.
Is it really though?
Yeah, we got Bagon, Shalgon, and then it should be Flygon, right? To continue the... never mind.